Welcome to Engine Adventures off-road review of the Ram 2500 crew cab short bed. This is the Laramie trim with the 6.4 liter Hemi, and let's get into the off-road portions of it. Before we do that, this one has the torsion limited slip rear differential. I'm excited to test this 3/4 ton, as the suspension setup's entirely different from the 1 ton. And you can see it has a damper there on the top of the axle that helps reduce wheel hop and axle wrap. This, in my opinion, is the only 3/4 ton truck on the market. The Ford and the General Motors vehicles use the same frame, same engine, same transmission, same tuning, same axles, same suspension design. The only difference is basically the leaf packs on the rear suspension on both those trucks between the 3/4 ton and 1 ton are slightly different. So on this one, you get completely different rear suspension. So let's go ahead and get testing it.
Here we are in 2-wheel drive, just as you would have it as you're driving down the road. And you can see there's quite a bit of wheel spin. That torsion rear limited slip style differential really doesn't transfer a lot of torque. Ram has these set up to be really mild, so they're not real aggressive. And most of that torque transfer is coming from the braking on the spinning wheels. And that was a pretty easy line, so I decided to do it again on a little bit of steeper part. And you can see there's even a little bit more wheel spin here. But, I mean, it still makes it in 2-wheel drive. There are some vehicles that haven't been able to do that, so kudos to the Ram. It does not have a rear locker, so like the Ford does, they can easily do that in 2-wheel drive. The whole thing changes when you turn off traction control. So look how controlled it is, how little wheel spin there is. And the joint in the video here was because I got out and took some pictures, but essentially in 2-wheel drive with traction control off, it does so much better. And we'll see the same thing in 4-wheel drive. So here we are in 4-wheel drive high, and again, this is how you would just do it if you shifted into 4-wheel drive high without turning off traction control or anything. Just simply touching the transfer case knob and not any of the other settings. And you can see this one has probably the most wheel spin of any mode, which is interesting to me. As we move on to the next section or next clip, and I turn off the traction control and stability control by holding down the traction control button for quite a while, it will disable everything. But look at the limited amount of wheel spin here compared to how much the wheels spun on the previous clip. And that leads us with our final mode, which is 4-wheel drive low. In 4-wheel drive low, the traction control and electronic stability control, all that stuff is turned off automatically when you shift into 4-wheel drive low. And again, look how well controlled it is here, and just really pretty easily done. That noise you heard was the hitch that I have in the bed of the truck that just fell over, so no big deal. There's no damage done or anything.
I have the alt trailer height on, so that lowers the rear just a little bit, and it should make it ride a little smoother. But this truck, I cannot comfortably keep the 20 miles an hour that I can in other vehicles. So it's closer to 15. It's better than the Ford F-250 with the 7.3 gas was, but it's still a pretty rough ride. I really want to test the Power Wagon. I haven't had the chance to do that yet to see if it rides better, which I'm sure it will off-road. But anyway, so the ride's this, I was a little bit rough still with this, but much better than the other class 2 vehicles, the 3/4 ton trucks, the GM 2500s and the Ford F-250.
Moving on to the steep hill climb, we start out in 2-wheel drive, and the Ram makes it just as far as all the other vehicles do in 2-wheel drive. The next one, I just go ahead and do 4-wheel drive high and turn off the traction and stability control. If you are going to be off-roading this truck, just either use 4-wheel drive low or use 4-wheel drive high and turn off the traction and stability control. You'll have a lot better braking on the spinning wheels. It'll just be a lot more aggressive truck, easier to manage off-road. So it does this. I did have to go almost full throttle here for a second in high with the 410 axle ratio. That would have been a little bit easier, but it does make it. Next up, we go ahead and shift into four-wheel drive low, and like I said, this one automatically disables your traction control and your stability control, and just kind of creeps up the hill. Doesn't take much throttle at all. It really makes this pretty easily. This is definitely the mode you want to be in if you are rock crawling, doing really precise off-road movements. There still is a tiny bit of slip, but it's so much more controlled and you're less likely to do body damage if you're in a tight spot. Here we are in four-wheel drive low again, just getting a different angle so you can see what the other side of the truck is doing. See here, the breakover angle, it does get pretty close to scraping, but it clears. As we move underneath the vehicle, you can see there's not a whole lot of unprotected components that are going to risk damage and disabling you. I do see that the fuel tank there hangs down below the frame rails and isn't protected, so that is definitely a hindrance when off-roading. But overall, it's pretty well protected and covered underneath.
I'm in four-wheel drive low, first gear, right there, and I'm just gonna let off the brake entirely, and we'll try and go down this without dying. This is a pretty steep slope, 6 miles an hour. So, sorry, that was probably terrible filming, but the engine braking on this thing just isn't quite good enough. I'll put up the crawl ratio of this particular one, but it really needs that 410 axle ratio. The first generation Power Wagons had a 456 final drive, and that's pretty sweet. I wish they still did that, but the new ones are 410, and you can option the other trucks to get a 410. All right, so here we are at night, and when I go to turn the headlights, they're on auto. Now they're just on, and I go to the running lights, and they still stay on. That's supposed to be the running lights. So, and then there are the fog lights. Alright, so I found the workaround to it. So if you go in here and turn your daytime running lights on or off, then it takes care of that issue. So you turn them off, and then you can just do fog lights or headlights. So there's the headlights. There's the daytime running lights. So they use the same set of bulbs, and on top of that, there are these LED lights. So I thought these were the daytime running lights, but it actually uses your headlights as the daytime running lights. That's what my issue was. So there we go, we solved that. You can set it up so that you only have the fog lights on with your parking lights, which is the way to do things. Here on the outside, we have these lights on the mirrors, which light up the whole bedside pretty well, actually. So if you're loading stuff in from the sides, you have that to help show you where the side of the truck is, and then of course this one has the LED lighting for the bed. Thanks for watching Engine Adventures off-road review of the 2020 Ram 2500 with the 6.4 liter Hemi. Very capable truck off-road. It's got the limited slip rear, but no locker, and still made easy work of all these climbs. Pretty much no problem at all. There's no hill descent control, so backing down the hill required a lot of patience and effort on the driver's part, which is no problem, but for those less experienced, it might be a little bit troublesome. A great vehicle overall. Really enjoyed it, and can't wait to test a Power Wagon out. If you liked what you saw, hit subscribe, give me a thumbs up, ring the bell so you get notifications when I post new videos, which get a new video up every Saturday, and then occasionally there's another vehicle up on Wednesday in between. But if you didn't like what you saw, comment down below as well. Give me a thumbs down, but let me know why. I want to know what I can do better. And have a great day.